Good morning, or afternoon, I guess. It's 11 a.m. here in Seattle. I don't know. It feels like it's tomorrow because it took me a whole day to get here.
Yeah, I mean, same for me. 50 minutes. I mean,
traffic, man.
Like 5 miles or something ridiculous like that.
Yeah, we don't live that far, but anyway.
Could have walked it.
It's been one of those days for Nick and I. But good morning. We are happy to be here. We love doing these live streams with you all. We've been doing these about once a week for. Oh gosh, a few months now. And and I know that we see like a lot of familiar names and faces. So I'd love to hear if you have watched before. Let us know. I'm just curious, like if these are always new people watching, or if there's a bunch of you that tune in all the time, or if you're waiting to see something that you haven't seen yet. If you're thinking about getting a Glowforge, if you already have one, but you're just seeing what projects we're doing and trying to get tricks and tips for projects. No ticks around here.
Deep breath in. That was a lot of questions, Bailey. I don't know if everybody out there caught that.
I want to know any of those things in chat. Let me know while you're here. Yeah, today we're going to be focusing on the pass-through slot from the Glowforge Pro. So if you are a plus or a basic owner, this exact technique won't be as relevant to you, but we can actually even give you some tips on how to create a giant project or at least parts of it if you don't have pass-through too, while we're talking.
100%, yeah. And I mean, Passthrough, as a lot of you out there may know, is the feature of the Glowforge Pro that allows you to print things that are much larger than the actual printer itself. And the example we're using today is something from our catalog, and it's partially assembled right now, but it is this wall clock, which I think is actually upside down. There you go. Not that it matters, really. It's stylistic, isn't it? But this, I think, is a slice from the clock face on Big Ben in the UK, which is kind of neat. And we've made it from 2 layers of our proof-grade medium plywood. We've got maple underneath and walnut on the top. But, of course, you could create this in any way that you want.
Ooh, I want to add the Peter Pan silhouettes.
So, funnily enough, when we were talking about making this, I was suggesting we do like a Halloween embellishment, and that would have been perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, imagine this and doing like a seasonal treatment with things like that.
Santa Claus.
It'd be so fun.
Cupid.
Right?
Who else could be flying past? I don't know.
It could be anything. And I was saying to Bailey as well that
some migrating geese in the spring.
That could also work, absolutely. That this mechanism we just buy offline, very inexpensively, but they do pendulum versions too. So imagine a cutout here, and then your seasonal element could be the pendulum. Maybe that's the shape of, the pirate ship from Peter Pan, for example.
Cool
That
would
could
that
be really cool. And again, just thinking about the Big Ben element, like if we filled in these gaps with the white, they have the white glass on the front of the clock, we could add an extra element of realism there. And, I mean, even think about this as a triptych. You could take the center section, take the rest of the clock face and create 2 more of these, hang it on the wall. Really simple, really easy. And that's the crux of it today. We want to show you how easy it is to print something like that with your Glowforge Pro.
Yes. So let me jump into chat real quick before we start the print. I want to make sure I'm getting any top of mind Glowforge questions.
Excellent.
Wow, Facebook is popping today.
Hello, Facebook friends.
Hello, Facebook friends. Okay, so Becky, it says, I'm new to Glowforge and I have a Windows computer. My question is there a need for more software to download images to cut? So Becky, you're asking, do I need to buy software in order to design for Glowforge? No. I've been at Glowforge for 6 years, and I've managed not to learn a single design program. I had it on, my short list. I'm going to learn Illustrator, for a few years, and it didn't do it. But I still print on the Glowforge all the time. I just use programs that make sense for my brain, like Canva or PowerPoint, just things that are like a little more simple. Sorry, I could hear us talking here on the on the computer. That was wigging me out.
Nothing worse.
So if you are familiar with those really basic design programs, That's something you can use. Basically, anything that can export as an SVG or a PDF is what you're looking for.
Yeah, and I think pretty much everything can do a PDF these days, right?
Yeah.
And you can also take things from different places too. So let's say you wanted some text, jump into Microsoft Word if that's your word processing software of choice, save that as a PDF. Then you could go to your search engine, find an image, download that, save it as a JPEG or a PNG, bring that into the software. And I'll show you in a second how you can use the software as kind of like a compositing tool, where you bring in all these different bits and pieces from different places, size them, scale them, arrange them, and then print them all as one print.
Exactly. And Becky, if you're looking for something literally like images, like you said, I love something called the Noun Project, and it's a good way to get free or very cheap to license. Basically like clip art, to use a 90s term. And they
it's
have
a good clip art,
thousands of everything. You type in hedgehog and you'll have 20 pages of different styles. And they're kind of that perfect like line art style for engraving on a Glowforge. So.
Or cutting too, in fact. You can convert them to SVGs or download as SVGs, and then you can cut them out as well.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, really, really
cool.
All
right, well, should we start with that first tip about pass-through?
Sure.
Yeah.
The tip about using that software, or the actual tip that we're
No, the one that says number 1 right here.
We have a loose agenda that we're trying to keep to, but you know, these are relatively free form. So, but yes, tip number 1. That is with pass-through, you want to keep your material as flat as you can and support both the ends. And that's because these materials are passing through the machine from the back to the front, just like this, and I'll show you just in a second. And they can flex just a little bit. I'm not sure if that really shows up on the camera.
Yeah, oh yeah.
The longer it is, the more flexy it is. And so we want to make sure that it's nice and flat so that as we're cutting, the pieces that we're cutting out don't fall and get trapped anywhere inside the machine. Now, the way that we do this is with one of these, and maybe it's easier if I just hold it up.
Yeah.
This is a very inexpensive roller stand. It's what woodworkers use to
Got
support
a
material. Yeah, a little
right
base here. And people use them for table saws and things like that. But at home, I use a stool with a couple of books, and I just put books of different thicknesses until I achieve the right height. Really simple. And basically, what we're going to do to start off with is take our piece of material, and this is a 20-inch wide by 4-foot long medium maple plywood piece of proof grade, and I'm going to slide it in the back of the machine like this. There's a slot. I'm just going to pop it through, just like this. And I think you'll probably see on the overhead where that's sitting. It's going to make sure that that's sitting there quite nicely, and it is. There we go. Now, we don't have to be particularly accurate about the way that we do this. We just want to try and keep that board as straight as we can, just with our eyes, so that as we're printing the different slices, and I'll explain what that means in a second, that we don't drift off the side of the board. But that, in effect, is the way we set up our first pass-through print.
Yes. And included with number 1 and keeping it flat is not to bump it. The first time that we ever did pass-through live, we bumped it like while it was printing. And amazingly, the Glowforge was able to like correct and fix it, and it was okay, but...
You're too kind, Bailey. It was definitely me that bumped it. It wasn't you. But yeah,
Someone
Bailey's right.
really clumsy. I don't know who.
And that's actually a really cool thing about Glowforge. And this is a good segue into tip number 2, which is when you're designing these things, in the old days, you might have to cut your design up into sections because you can only print on whatever fits inside the bed.
So you'd think, okay, this part will be, you know, 11 inches long? Yeah, so many numbers. 11 inches, and then this another section is 11 inches. But you don't have to do that. You can make a design that's 36 inches long and then print it in 3 slices.
That's it, yeah. So regardless of whatever software you're using, whether it's Illustrator or Photoshop, Google Slides, PowerPoint, maybe even AutoCAD if you're someone like that. We can print with DXF files for those of you out there. Fusion 360, another good example. But make everything full size, design it full size, actual scale. Because in the Glowforge software, we'll show you in just a sec, it will slice it up for you, and it basically uses a bunch of cameras that are in here to figure out what it could print in the first slice.
Right.
And then when you move the board, figure out where that bit moved to, and automatically align the next section of the print to it.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's, you know, we've been in this for a long time now. Bailey and I have each been here for about 6 years. But it still blows our mind that a camera and a computer can figure out how to connect these two, you know, 0.5 millimeter lines together with such precision. It's really insane.
Catherine is asking if we've ever thought of selling a pro table. That's a great idea, Catherine. We don't sell any like Glowforge accessories really right now. We've just been focusing on the machines. But wow, I mean, that's a side hustle if someone.
Yeah. I mean, if you check out the community forum, for those of you out there who don't know, community.glowforge.com is an ever-growing community of people who are interested in Glowforge or are Glowforge owners, and there's definitely a really great IKEA hack section on that thread where people use different things to make Glowforge tables.
And just the, you know, which of their like craft carts kind of, or workshop carts fit the Glowforge perfectly, which ones fit the proof grade perfectly, all of that. So people have done quite a bit of research on Glowforge tables, but no,
Very
we don't
creative.
sell one yet. Maybe someday. Wouldn't that be cool?
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like Bailey mentioned, you know, if anybody out there is a woodworker, maybe wants a side hustle, if you search on Etsy for Glowforge accessories, people are making good money.
Barb says, this is a really good training. I have the Pro and I've been wanting to do a large format item.
Oh,
Barb, I
excellent.
totally get it. I have had the Pro in my home for a long time and I haven't really used the pass-through slot very much. I'm ashamed to say it, but like this is quite easy. I don't know why it has seemed so intimidating.
I think it's because it's so easy.
Yeah.
You know, it's almost too good to be true, so to speak. Yeah, which is really fascinating. Should we dive in and show people kind of how it works, do you think?
Real quick, yes, but real quick before we get to that, I'm so proud doing it in the first 11 minutes of this stream. We do have a discount code.
Oh, okay.
The October discount code ends at the end of the month on the 31st, so I think that's Sunday? Halloween on Sunday?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think so.
So it's only good for a few days. So if you're going to get a Glowforge this fall, grab it now so that you can get this discount code. So it's glowforge.com/OctoberPro. October Pro. All lowercase, all one word. And that's going to get you $500 off the Glowforge Pro, but it's also good for a Glowforge Plus or Basic. It's $250 off the Plus and $125 off the Basic. So if you're going to get one this fall, I would really advise that you get it soon. Nick and I know, being here many years, we sell a lot of Glowforges in November and December around the holidays, and sometimes folks assumed they could get one and then can't, or the shipping timelines stretch out longer than we can control. And as you all know, shipping and logistics and supply chains and everything are an extra challenge this year. So I would really recommend, if you're going to get a Glowforge, pull the trigger.
That's it. If anybody is interested, head to the Glowforge order page, glowforge.com/order, and you can see the shipping estimates on there. I think right now they're around about 2 weeks or something like this.
Yeah, I think they're like,
check them out.
Maybe like 10 days for the Pro and 14 for the Plus, something like that.
And actually, is there free shipping still on the Plus and
yes,
Pro?
on the Plus and Pro.
Okay. Excellent. So take advantage of that too while you can.
Yeah.
And maybe there's one of our helpers, friendly colleagues out there in chat who could throw that discount code in the chat if they haven't already, just so people out there can find it.
Yes, we do have an expert here so they can fill that in.
Lovely.
Oh, and last thing, sorry, last little plug.
I just want to print, Bailey.
I know. It's what we're all here for. I just wanted to mention, this won't mean that you miss any sort of holiday sale because we're not having one.
This is a great point.
So this is the best price you're going to see this year, is this live stream discount code. We're not doing a Black Friday sale. We're not doing there's a week till Christmas, hurry up sale. We won't be doing that. So, and in fact, we have a guarantee that if something changes and we decide to, we'll do a refund of any price change in your purchase.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah. We call that the Glowforge worry-free price guarantee.
Yes.
You might have seen some ads and things on the website about it, but great peace of mind that if you are ready, but you're just hanging on for a sale, there's no need. You can grab one today.
Sleep in on Black Friday.
Absolutely. Great advice. All right, well, let's jump over to the print then, and let me show everybody what's going on here. Now, I think right now you can see my screen, and it's going to look a little dark, and that's because we're looking at the design that we're going to be printing full size against a photograph of what's inside our Glowforge. And to break that down just a little bit further, if I zoom in, what we're actually looking at right here, this square, is this piece of proof grade material going into our machine. And we call this live preview. My favorite feature, it basically allows us to take our design and drag it wherever we want on this material, and that's where it's going to print. So super powerful, especially if you're printing on found objects. Now, today for this demo, I'm actually going to print the inside of this clock, so all these detailed features. And you can see right now on the left-hand side, I've got two different signs, or two different print steps here. We've got the outline here, and then we've got the internal details here.
Yep.
The outline is currently set to ignore, because I was testing this out earlier on. If we wanted to cut it, we can just click into here and click cut, but we're going to keep it as ignore like this. And this print step is already set to a cut. And what that means is all of this detail here is what Glowforge is going to cut. But, and here's the magic of Passthrough. You can see how this design is giant and does not fit on this piece of material. Even if we were to rotate it, it's not going to fit sideways.
Because the black part is like outside of the Glowforge bed.
Yeah.
It's the ether.
That's yes, the Glowforge ether. I like that. And you know, we could scale this down and we could make a mini version if we wanted to, which would be really easy to do. You might even be able to fit two of those on one sheet in that case. But we're going to use Passthrough. So I'm going to undo that, get that back into the position, and I'm going to go to the three dots here and toggle Pro Passthrough. And this is what happens. Now, pretty subtle, but what you'll notice now is we get this white dotted line across here. And that's representing as far as the Glowforge can print. So basically, with my design in this particular position, let's just scooch it across a little bit like this, it's going to print everything from here all the way up to here, and then it's going to stop just here. So let's kick that off right away, and I'm going to show you the next bit. Because the next bit, once we've done the first print, is really the cool bit. Because that's where Glowforge then takes a bunch of photos, asks us to move the material, and then takes a bunch more photos to line everything up. And that is a nice segue, I think, into tip number 3. I feel like we got quite good at our segues today. We're normally terrible at these. Maybe it's just me, but I feel good about that.
Yes.
But tip number 3 is there are some instructions in the app, and do follow them. There are certain moments where it's really key to keep everything as still as you can, because this is it's a precision tool doing a precision operation, and the lines that Glowforge are cutting are, the width of a human hair. They're 0.5 millimeter, 0.008 of an inch, something like that. So you can imagine.
Tell if they're only a tiny bit off, though.
Oh, yeah,
you can really tell. It looks like a little jig, like a sawtooth.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, or worst case scenario, it just doesn't cut because they don't meet. So just be a little bit careful about bumping things, But first step is just a normal print, just like you're printing anything else. So 6 minutes 38 for this one. Let's hit that button. We've got a 1-button operation here, as many of you probably know, and we'll just start this off. Now, Bailey mentioned before that if you are a Plus or a Basic owner, you can't take advantage of the Passthrough feature, which is a shame. It does mean things like this are a little more difficult. And one way you can achieve something like this, though, is by slicing this design up into sections that do fit on that 12 by 20 printing area, and then doing something smart with your joinery. And my suggestion with a design like this is, because we have this second layer that's glued on the top, is you add your joins underneath these pieces, and then you can use these basically as braces to glue all of the bits and pieces together.
I don't know if you can see up close. I don't think you can. Here, let's look here. I want to show how you've scored. So the Glowforge can do 3 things: cut, engrave, and score. And a score is kind of like a drawing with a pencil. So rather than like carving away like an engrave to make a shape, or cutting all the way through the material like scissors with a cut, it's kind of somewhere in between. Like it's like a really shallow, fast engrave. So the laser just goes over it like once to make a mark. And what it does is it creates, what would you call that? Like the template, the pattern, the align lines, whatever you would call it. So it's really great for things like this, but also, let's show them that sign. Do we have that around?
The Feathers and Flint one?
Yeah, we have.
Let's see if my mic reaches.
Sign. Oh, I don't know if he's.
Nope. Worth a try.
Mike's gonna grab it for us. We have mics on, so we can't make it all the way over to the wall right here. Yeah, that's that sign. So this is another great pass-through project. It's a sign like you might make if you run a business, or maybe you would sell these to people who run a business to put out at their store or their farmer's market booth or whatever. But you'll notice these letters are like dimensional. So you can see they've got, some texture,
they're made from thick black acrylic,
exactly.
So they're about 6 millimeters thick,
so they're
a quarter
even
inch
thicker
thick.
than the sign itself, actually. And anyway, and so we had you can kind of see really up close the guidelines that we had scored in there. So just really cool, and that way that the text aligns perfectly, looks beautiful. I don't know if I had done something like that by hand. Don't look too closely at the photos hung on my wall at home, for example. Like
it's artistic, Bailey. That's what it is.
Exactly. Okay, lots of questions coming in.
Nice.
I love it.
Right.
Dina is asking if it can cut materials like aluminum and plastic, and also interested in recycling materials like bottle caps, cans, containers, cardboards.
Wow, okay. So lots to go through there. So in short, Glowforge can't cut through metals. Unfortunately, a 40-watt laser, which is what's inside here, isn't powerful enough to do that. But for metals that are coated, and bottle caps is an example of that, you could engrave away the paint to reveal something underneath, which could be kind of cool. I hadn't thought about that before, but you could absolutely do that. In terms of recycling materials, cardboard works brilliantly with Glowforge. We actually have settings for cardboard saved in the software. So those shipping boxes that a lot of us are receiving right now, you can flatten those out, pop them inside your machine, use the setting that's baked into here already, and cut that into, well, whatever it is that you want. Cardboard's great for prototyping. It's great for kids' projects, great for temporary things that maybe you don't want to keep around forever. And it just keeps things out of the recycling trash can just for a little bit longer, which is nice.
Yes, and you can still recycle it after,
of
course.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's great for it. We did a stream a couple weeks ago making like a kid's Halloween costume out of cardboard, and that was really cute.
Yeah, I think plastic was mentioned there too, right?
Yeah.
So acrylic is a great example of a plastic that works really well with lasers.
Whole tray of acrylic earrings. I think maybe, wait, where did the phone go? There it is. I almost picked up my own cell phone. So look at this. earring holder thing is made of clear acrylic. It's kind of a, you can see my fingerprints all over it, kind of a glass green acrylic. Same with these cactus earrings. And here's some acrylic in kind of a shiny metallic pink.
Yeah, that metallic's really nice.
Look at this iridescent one. I love that one. These are wood. Ignore those. But so acrylic is a great plastic to use. Look at this plant holder we've made with acrylic as well. Acrylic
yeah,
and
I mean, acrylic is waterproof, so you can put this kind of stuff outside. Great for signage.
And it's like shatterproof. You
yeah,
can basically use it instead of a.
a
I think our CEO a couple years ago, I don't think that the sea monkeys are no longer with us, but there were sea monkeys living in a.
Like, where is she going with this story?
A Glowforge made sea monkey tank. Our CEO made with his kids. I think his kids were like 8 at the time, and they did like a birthday party where they all made sea monkey aquariums and stuff.
Yeah,
so,
that was a fun project.
I know,
but
I
actually,
love it.
that reminds me of something. So our CEO Dan and acrylic. I'm thinking about seasonality right now and gifts.
Oh yeah.
If you go to somewhere like Costco or one of these other places, you can get your photos printed on acrylic. If you put your acrylic inside the Glowforge, you could use a jigsaw puzzle generator, which is built into some of our software, and you can cut that photograph into a jigsaw puzzle. So imagine taking a photo of, say, the family, again, that printed, putting it in here, turning it into a puzzle, and then sending that off as a gift. Like, I mean, you basically don't have to do anything, but the recipient of that gift is going to think it's so special.
Like a custom puzzle?
Yeah, absolutely,
Amazing.
with the family.
That's such a good idea. That reminds me of one of our early customers who was a hobby photographer, but had never really made any money selling his photos because, you know, it's quite competitive, and he was just photographing landscapes and things that not like portraits, not like commissioned pieces.
Right,
And when he got his Glowforge, he did that same thing with his photos. He printed them on, I think they're wood is what he prints them on, and then he designs custom puzzles, so they're not even just the traditional puzzle shapes. They've also got like shapes in them that kind of relate to a drawing. So there's one of this portrait of a dog, and there's like a squirrel-shaped puzzle piece and a bone-shaped puzzle piece, and the name of the dog like in there as puzzle pieces. And now he like runs this puzzle business, like custom puzzles.
That's really fun.
Yeah, so. There's a story for everything, I swear.
Yeah. I mean, the more years we spend here, the greater the library of anecdotes there are. I'll just say we have about 30 seconds left on this particular piece of print, and I'm going to grab this phone. Not quite ready for it yet, Mike, but in a moment, Glowforge is going to take a break, and I'll show you what's on my screen, and I'll show you what's actually going to happen. Because this camera here in the lid, it's the first camera of 2 that are in here, is going to take a big wide-angle photo of everything that's inside the bed. And it's going to look at all those print lines that have already happened. And then this black piece here where the laser comes out of is going to travel across to a couple of different points and take some close-up photos of those areas too.
Okay.
So it's going to think for a second. Now, if Mike just switches over to my screen really briefly, you'll see we get this message here, taking pictures. And this is those instructions that we're talking about. Right now it says, don't move your material or open the lid.
So don't do it.
Heed that warning. So definitely don't do that.
Heed the
warning. Let me see if I can come around the front.
No, really, we're serious.
Oh, here we go. Let's see if I can capture the head coming across in just a moment. I'm very tangled with my microphone right now, but I think we're managing. So I don't know how quickly this is going to come across, but what we're going to see in a moment is that head shoot across to one of these parts of the print. And you can actually see in here where it's finished. We've got like a perfectly straight line across the end of that print.
Oh yeah.
But all of these pieces that we see down here, oh, there we go.
It happened.
Let's see if I can get underneath
It's moving.
Here. Hard to get the phone to focus. But basically, even though it looks like nothing, that printer head is coming across and taking some photos of the ends of those lines, so it knows exactly where it is in physical space in relation to digital space. I mean, like, it's mind-blowing, really, that that's even possible. But it is, and we made it happen.
So just took a photo. I saw the flash. And it's going to do one right here, too.
Another one over here, look. And basically do a bunch of different calculations to figure out how we can print the next section.
I mean, maybe one of the reasons this is so amazing is because it didn't exist before Glowforge. And when you and I started at Glowforge, it did not exist.
Right.
We've watched the engineers working on it and seen it in all stages of development. And now that it works, it's incredible. And we're like, this was hard.
Yeah, yeah, it really was, yeah. Yeah, please,
I mean,
everybody
we wouldn't know,
appreciate their
really,
work.
but...
No, it's, we just take it for granted. But anyway, pictures are finished. If Mike could jump back to my screen, perfect. Next instruction is here, shift material forwards. Now, all we have to do with this is, if we go to the overhead, Mike, is push the material through like this. So we have a little bit of the print still showing, let's say about that much. And basically that edge of the print there serves as a reference marker for the Glowforge to figure out where to start printing.
But it didn't really matter, like you didn't you didn't push it through a very specific amount. You just gave yourself enough room to continue your print, but you didn't need to be 7.5 inches or something like that. It was just whatever.
You could do this every 5 millimeters, you know, every 6 inches. You just want to leave about, I think, between 3 and 5 inches, something like that at the bottom there.
Enough for the cameras to be able to look at it and recognize it, basically. Okay.
And the more detail your design, the more reference points it has. So this has got tons, so it should be very accurate, which is nice. But once we've done that, we just click continue in the software, and it's going to take a few more photos, just like it did previously, and line everything up. So we'll let it do its thing.
Is that the tip number 4, that really simple designs can be harder to print than more complex design? That's what exactly what you just said. When Nick was saying that tip is really simple designs can actually be harder. So imagine if we were printing, you know, just a simple triangle or something like that, because there's only just those 2 places in the triangle for it to line up. That's harder than a design like this where it has all these different reference points. That makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's very, very clever. So yeah, I'm taking some photos. It's going to shoot the head across in a moment, and maybe if we catch it at the right time, we'll get it with the overhead. But let's go through a few more questions.
We have so many. Catherine is just saying, front porch designs are great for the pro. That's so true. That's such a thing to like make a beautiful front porch and have like, I mean, a sign like that you can lean on.
Those big vertical ones that say welcome and things. Yeah.
That's good. So that's not really a question, but do you
know
a good statement, if a special filter is required for foam or foam boards for airplanes? I don't know about foam boards for airplanes. No, there's no special filter needed for any materials. If a material is laser safe, then you'll need to use a filter at all times, anytime you're printing. We're using,
or just vent outside, right?
Or just vent outside, exactly. Yes, you'll need to ventilate whenever you're printing, is what I meant. Yeah, so we're using the Glowforge air filter right now. You certainly don't need to, though. You can just vent outside. Most people just operate their Glowforge in a room that has a window or a door, and then it comes with this dryer hose right here. And so you just throw this out the window or door. I kind of cram mine in between the window frame and the wall, and then I just close the window when I'm done, and it's great. So
but alternatively, just in case you haven't seen it, here is a Glowforge filter.
And here's
not
my
just
mic
me tripping over my mic then.
Oh my goodness. Yes, this is the Glowforge air filter right here.
This one's just out of the way. We have ours off the shot, so it doesn't interfere with our microphones.
So this would go to the, yes.
Absolutely.
Otherwise we'd be tripping even more, believe it or not.
But that's it. Size of a recycling bin, has a replaceable cartridge, and you just, you know, run your printer. And actually, in fact, if you have access to Wi-Fi and power, you could take your printer and your cartridge absolutely anywhere, like deep into the woods, and you could be printing, which is kind of cool.
Deep into the woods. You know, just a zen day of printing in the woods. Drag a Glowforge and a hike.
All right, I think we're ready for our next slice. So Mike, if you switch over to my screen, you can see here the Glowforge has moved the design. It's aligned it down towards the bottom here, and it's asking if it looks roughly right. Now, right now, it looks a little off on the left-hand side, and that's because we've got everything skewed over to the left, and the image that we're looking at is actually a slight fisheye, so it's somewhat distorted. But this looks like it's going to work just fine, so I'm going to click continue. Now, let's say accidentally, while you were doing this, you bumped into the board just like I typically do. Don't worry, there is a button in here that says retry alignment. It will take those photos again. It will figure out exactly how they align.
I'm so glad we built that.
Yeah, it's a nice peace of mind.
Barb is saying game changer. I thought I had to line this up myself. This is so cool.
No.
And David is saying, thank you so much. I've had a Pro for a year now and I haven't used it yet.
Excellent.
I think they mean the Passthrough.
Yeah, I'm guessing
Hopefully not the whole Pro, but.
Actually, so thinking about this, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
For those of you out there who are maybe considering using Passthrough but aren't really sure what the experience is going to be like, and maybe don't want to invest in giant bits of material just for testing, you could just take a normal piece of material, you know, and stick it through the slot.
And practice.
Maybe, and just get a design, anything at all, enable Passthrough, print half of it, and then move the material, follow the instructions, and print
just
the
to
second
practice,
half.
like, I mean, imagine you're cutting out a word, cut out the first couple letters, and then pass it through. So it doesn't need to take up the whole bed like this, is what Nick was saying. You could just practice with a piece of cardboard.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's a nice segue. Once again, practice. Look at this. Wow, it's like we've done this before. Tip number 5. With Passthrough, obviously, we're investing a bit more time in terms of our material and the expense here.
Yeah.
So consider doing some test prints in advance. Let's say you're making a piece of furniture, like that stool maybe behind you there, Bailey.
Cool.
This is one I'm hoping that I can reprint at some point in the past, but this is a stool made out of, it's actually like an MDF material. We call it draft board.
Heavier than I expected,
actually. Yeah, it's pretty solid, but there's some slots and things that join together in the bottom here, And I did a test of those on smaller pieces of material.
We have like a little tiny.
Yeah,
I wonder where it is.
There's
a little tiny version of this.
Somebody might have sat on it, unfortunately.
So
it's
not weight bearing.
The small one, no. This one is good. But I tested it out first before I committed to using those big sheets of material. And that way, you just know that everything's going to work just fine. Yeah, excellent. So do a little test version.
David has a really great question I want to address. Doesn't the Pro have more power? So does that mean it's faster? Yes and yes. So the Pro is our, we do have 3 different Glowforge units, the Pro, Plus, and Basic. Pro is our most premium. It was kind of designed for like continuous all-day printing. So if you run a business or something like that, you're probably going to want to go with the Pro. It's our most popular model, though, for everyone, including folks who just use their Glowforge for fun, for gift making, for hobbies, prototyping, what have you. And it probably does have a lot to do with, one, the pass-through slot, because you're only going to get the pass-through on the Pro, and then also the speed. The Glowforge Pro can print at 3 times the top speed of the Glowforge Basic. So,
that's right.
And then the Plus is kind of in between those two. So,
yeah, perfect for businesses. If you're an extreme hobbyist, maybe you just said that. I'm not sure if you did.
Extreme hobbyist.
Yeah, I mean, like myself, I like to cling to walls while I'm doing my printing. But the Pro will print much more quickly. So if you're churning out big projects or you want to print continuously because you have just tons of ideas coming out of your head, then the Pro is right for you. And it also includes the cooling unit. Did you mention that, Bailey? I'm sorry if you did.
No.
Okay. So unlike the Plus and the Basic, there's actually a cooling unit inside the printer itself.
Like extra internal cooling, basically.
Yeah. So it keeps the machine cool as it's working hard throughout the day. Now, if you have a Basic or Plus, don't worry. If things do get a little hot because you're pushing it beyond its limits, it will just pause automatically. You'll get a notification in the software.
Yeah.
And once it's cooled down, it'll carry on. But with the Pro, you just keep going and going and going all day.
Yes. And in case there's any laser aficionados listening, just so you know, there are no external cooling units needed for a Glowforge. Some older lasers or just like more traditional lasers, you have to literally have like a bucket of water and a fish tank pump to run liquid cooled water through your machine.
Yep.
You don't have to do that. We've built that in, but it's more advanced on the Pro in order that you can keep printing in a hot environment all day. Which
is actually really cool, because if you think about getting these set up, in the past, with a lot of other units, historically so, you plug in your power, there'd be some kind of inverter, then you've got your cooling unit like Bailey mentioned, you have your exhaust unit there might be some control board that you had to connect as well, and then some kind of thing that goes through
why
a PC.
did lasers seem intimidating?
I have no idea. I mean, that must have taken, only 2 or 3 weeks to get it up and running.
Whereas most customers tell us they are printing with their Glowforge within 30 minutes of it arriving at the doorstep. Maybe that's, literally like, it arrives, they open it up immediately.
I really want to do like a Grand Prix style time setup with this one day, because I think that'd be so fun.
It wouldn't be fair because we've done it so many times.
I suppose that's true.
We need somebody who's like brand new, reading the instructions.
Yeah.
But
okay, well maybe we do that still.
I think it's quite easy though. There's just the one button, there's just the one plug. You just connect it to Wi-Fi like any Wi-Fi powered device in your house, like your Nest or your smart camera or whatever. Quite easy.
Really easy. Yeah.
Are we still waiting on this right now?
My computer, unfortunately, right now has just gone offline. We have a bit of a ropey internet connection here in the office. So I'm seeing if it'll come back in time for us to do this next bit of the print.
Wow.
But I'm glad at least we got to the point where I could show you how it takes all those photos and it lines everything up and we can get to the next step. If something like this does happen at home, you can just wait for everything to come back online and then hit the print.
And it'll know where it's at.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, lots of folks ask us if they're in the middle of like a long print, like say you've got an engrave of a detailed image that takes an hour, and what if the Wi-Fi goes out? Because that happens. We're in an office with enterprise Wi-Fi. Like, why did that just happen? But
security, I suppose.
Sure.
All the secrets I keep on my computer.
If that was to happen, luckily Glowforge has already uploaded the whole design file to the cloud, and so it will actually keep printing through your, not your power outage, but your internet outage. You do need power. Sorry, we haven't figured that one out yet.
You imagine a crank handle on the back or something like that.
Exactly. We've got a volunteer's tribute for the unboxing video.
Oh. Okay, excellent.
Amazing, thanks, Francis.
Are you local?
Yeah, right? I want to go through a few more of these. If I was to get one, would I be able to take the machine to craft shows safely to make custom prints in person? Yes, and that's such a good idea. Is it capable of being powered by a portable battery like an EcoFlow? I don't know what an EcoFlow is, but I imagine I have run them on they're called UPS. It's an uninterrupted power source. It's a hardware thing that don't get one of those. They weigh 1,000,000 pounds. So I've run it on a portable battery is basically what I'm saying. So I bet, and I've also run it on my Wi-Fi tethered from my phone. So
yeah, you just need to make sure that the wattage output of that battery power
Yes.
can cope with this. I forget exactly what the peak wattage is, but if you look at tech specs, searching Google for Glowforge tech specs, the peak wattage is right there.
Yeah, that's another thing that the community forum could be great for. So community.glowforge.com, there's like a search bar and you can search for, you know, portable batteries or craft shows, or I don't know, that's kind of a big one, but yeah, I'm sure you can figure out a way to do it. And I think it's a great idea. In fact, a really cool thing to do with a craft show is to pre-print a bunch of items. Like, what could we show as an example? We cleaned up back here.
Yeah, we really did, didn't we?
Oh, gosh.
I guess maybe this one.
So,
this could work.
Imagine that you were selling, this is a slate coaster. We bought these on Amazon, engraves beautifully. So imagine that you were selling these, but you wanted to offer custom initials or phrases or drawings or whatever. So you could print just this flower frame and you could have these out and then say design your own, and then you could pop them into the Glowforge and print the custom part on the spot. And folks will have their noses glued to the Glowforge. Like, it's so fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking to build things like a social media following, like that is one way to get people to follow you, like you, share that post. Like the experience itself is just...
They can press the button for $5. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right.
Tiffany's asking, how thick of a material can be used in the pass-through?
That slot itself is about 1/4 inch thick. So we're looking at 1/4 inch plywood for that.
Okay,
or
I'm
1/4 inch other
hopping
materials
over to Facebook now, watching from Glasgow, Scotland. Oh my goodness. Yeah, we always get a lot of UK people tuning in, I guess because it's the evening for y'all, so you're at home.
It's because they can understand what I'm saying.
Oh, that's right. Yes. When Nick goes home to visit family, they tell him he's got an American accent these days, so we don't know.
They don't know that I'm British anymore. Yeah, I mean, some kind of weird. Am I in the Glowforge ether? Is that where I am?
That's right. You're in the ether, the black area outside. We are actually launching Glowforge in the UK. If you're in the UK, hopefully you've been seeing the ads to let you know. It's going to be soon. I can't share an exact date yet, but it's very soon. And that means that when you order a Glowforge in the UK, it will ship from the UK. We're also going to offer proof grade material shipping from the UK. That's a huge deal because y'all have had to ship them from the US before or ship back and forth to the US for maintenance, which is not ideal. And so we're really excited to offer this for you. So more on that soon, but glad to see y'all tuning in from over there.
Absolutely. Should we cover that discount again, Bailey? For those of you who maybe weren't here a few minutes ago, glowforge.com/October Pro. That is going to get you a discount that is good to the end of this month, Sunday, October 31st. And that's $500 off the Pro, which we're using right here, $250 off the Basic, and is it $125 off? Sorry, $250 off the Plus and $125 off the Basic?
Exactly.
Okay, perfect.
You have it each time.
Excellent.
I want to, Sari Fine saying, I want to make a whole class design where each student makes a portion of a whole long wooden banner.
You know what? We've been talking about this for the foyer here, actually. Crowdsourcing something from our customers where maybe everybody does a hexagon or something like this.
Yeah.
It gets shipped to us. We put it up on the wall. You can come visit, you know, obviously when things are safe again. And maybe, I don't know, maybe you ship it to us, but if you come and visit, we can take it down, and then you could use Trace to add some kind of personal touch.
Well, some of our customers in our VIP group on the forum actually made us such a thing. We haven't put it up yet. Which
is it? I wonder if it's over there. Hey,
it's
Mike,
around here.
Is that giant like ball thing over there? I forget. There's a technical name for it. I don't know what it is.
Like
they're made of
tetrahedron.
Is that the right word? It looks like a sphere, but it's made of lots of.
No.
Yeah. Is it? Yeah. Is it defined?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have two versions of this. One was from like 2 years ago, and a bunch of people on the forum. So these are Glowforge owners who have Glowforges at home, and they are amazing people who want to send us gifts. I don't know. And they made all these that fit together. So we'll show you those in a moment. And then a few months ago, we got kind of a different version of it, which is like one that you can mount on the wall, which we have plans for here kind of once we figure out our new office situation. As you know, it's been a weird last 18 months.
Yeah. The things at the Glowforge office are very interesting right now. One day, maybe we'll give you a behind the scenes. But the sheer chaos that is beyond the camera.
Sometimes you get it when I'm just like swinging the camera around. You can see kind of our mess around me. But
it's a creative place. I mean, what can I say?
Yes.
You know?
Yes, we call this Glowforge Studios these days. It's very fun.
Not those ones,
not
Mike. Sorry.
those. Yeah.
It's like the giant wooden sphere.
Nope.
No? Okay, don't worry. We'll find that for next time so we can share it with everybody.
That's a cool
it's
one.
Very
But yeah,
cool.
the idea though of
like a collaborative
project that folks can each add a tile to or a drawing to or something like that is so cool.
Yeah.
And I love the idea of doing it as a classroom project because, especially speaking of like remote work and how everything's weird and nobody's in the same place, you could have students draw or design and like mail things to you or email to you and then print all at one location. They don't need to be there, so this could be a totally remote project.
Yeah. So just to throw a little British story in there, I don't think this exists outside of the UK, but back in school, when you were little, we used to do these tea towels every year, and every student within the class would, I mean, you got to mop it up and, when you spill the tea. But they would draw themselves, a little stick figure or slightly more advanced with their name underneath, and they would compile them together and then print them on a tea towel.
What?
And it would have like the name of your school and the year.
That's
and
so
then
cute.
It's adorable. I have a couple of them. Maybe I'll bring one in one time. But as a teacher, I mean, imagine doing that. You could create something like this instead of doing the typical school photograph where everyone like stands like stiffly in the bleachers or what have you. Just have them hand draw it, put something on the wall.
Speaking of a tea towel, see that apron?
This one?
Yeah, if you did want to do Glowforge work on fabric, I mean, you can get really creative. This isn't engraved on denim.
Let's pop it up here. I've stolen Bailey's phone this week
Oh, I was
by
like, where'd
accident.
that go?
It's just here.
Isn't this funny? We made this for our CEO like last year or something like that.
Yeah, back in the summer.
My other grill is the Glowforge.
But a great example. I mean, this is just a standard denim apron. We bought this off online. Wasn't particularly expensive, and you throw it in there and engrave it, and it bleaches the color from the fabric.
Yeah.
So this is not cut through. It's very durable. If you wash it, it's going to stay just like this.
With fabrics, though, just avoid synthetics, I would say. Like, I remember when we were first doing an engraved denim jacket for our launch video 6 years ago, we tried one that was like stretchy, and it just shreds.
Yeah.
If it's if it's full of plastic, that won't work. So make sure you find
Real
something
denim,
that's like
genuine
real denim,
cotton.
or things like felt, anything that's cotton.
Yeah,
all that
canvas,
kind of thing.
another great example. Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
I think we're running up to time.
Yeah,
Any
we
other
definitely
questions
are.
in there, Bailey?
Let me pop right back onto YouTube and see if there's any more. How long can a Glowforge filter last? If you're talking about the air filter cartridge, it really depends. This is the worst answer, I know, but it really depends on the material that you're using. For example, I know that the draft board fills it up faster than acrylic. Wood fills it up faster than acrylic. Something just like engraving on stone wouldn't really produce any particulates, and so probably you can
or even
do
any
this
smell.
for quite a long time. Yeah, exactly. So it really just depends. If
Bailey's...
a Glowforge prints in the woods and there's no one to hear it, doesn't make a sound. That's a perfect one to end on.
That's
I appreciate
great.
you, Francis. That was really good.
Excellent.
Well, thank you all for joining us today for the pass-through print. Sorry that we didn't get to finish it. Darn internet. But
next time.
But yeah, we are planning to do pass-through every 3 or 4 weeks or so just tune back in. We also have other pass-through prints on our past live streams, so if you're on Facebook, hop over to YouTube. If you're on YouTube, just search our channel for pass-through live streams, and you can see some more of these really beautiful projects like so.
This one we probably should have glued together as we were chatting, really, but we'll finish it up for next time. But like Bailey mentioned, we are going to be going live every week from now on, and we're going to be focusing on, I think, 5 different sort of areas, if you like. We'll do Glowforge 101, so for those of you out there who are quite new to Glowforge, we'll go through everything in a bit of detail. We'll do a materials-focused live stream. We'll do design-focused live streams. We'll do what we call masterclasses, things like Passthrough. Maybe we'll dive deep into a material and teach you some different techniques and things like this. And then finally, make money with Glowforge, because we have so many customers out there who took one of these into their home and quit their full-time job and now make anything and everything and sell it for thousands and thousands of dollars. It's really incredible.
It really is. So if you're interested in any of those topics, just keep tuning in and see what we're doing each week, and we'll see you right back here.
Wonderful. Well, thanks again, everybody.